Right up front, when I say cookout, I don't mean barbecue. I'm from Texas. Barbecues and cookouts are two completely different things. Also, warning ahead of time, this video is going to make you hungry. So, we're starting off with that staple of Southern cuisine, macaroni and cheese, or mac and cheese if you prefer. Pasta and cheese casseroles go back at least to the 14th century, where it's mentioned in the Italian cookbook Liber de Cucina, which featured a dish of Parmesan and pasta. A cheese and pasta casserole known as macaroons was recorded in the 14th century medieval English cookbook, the form of curry, though it was closer to a form of lasagna that had layers of pasta, cheese, and butter. Mac and cheese eventually made its way to America mostly because of Thomas Jefferson, who was introduced to it while he was in France. He loved the dish and even had the equipment and ingredients to make it imported over to this country. It was served at his behest at a state dinner in 1802 while he was president, and its popularity just grew from there. And in case you were wondering, Kraft mac and cheese was introduced in 1937. Another staple side dish at cookouts is coleslaw. The term coleslaw arose in the 18th century and comes from the Dutch coleslaw, which means cabbage salad, and it's a traditional Dutch dish that was made from cabbage, melted butter, vinegar, and oil. The more modern version didn't come to be until after mayonnaise was invented, supposedly during the mid-18th century. The only common ingredient needed for coleslaw is cabbage, but it typically includes carrots. And then there's potato salad.
Show me potato salad.
Which is kind of like coleslaw in that the European or German version, that's the wrong German flag. There you go. But let's never forget about that first one, because let's be honest here, when people think of Germany, they think of that first one. It is traditionally served warm and made with a vinegar-based dressing, whereas America took it and added mayonnaise. Yeah, that's just kind of what we do. It also typically includes celery, sometimes onion and or eggs, and pretty much anything else you might want to throw in there. Then we have grilled jalapeno poppers, which are jalapeno peppers that have been hollowed out and filled with a mixture of cream and cheddar cheese. And yes, then we wrap them in bacon. It might be more of a Texas thing, but these are commonly served at cookouts. And they're also a more modern version of a classical Mexican dish. Another common Texas cookout food is brisket, which is different from the others because it takes a lot longer to smoke a brisket than to grill a burger. Brisket comes from this part of the cow, which supports a lot of weight and is rather dense muscle, hence why it has to be slow cooked. The word brisket actually comes from the Middle English brusket, which comes from the earlier Norse, whatever that is, which means cartilage. Then we have the hamburger, or just burger, which is named after Hamburg, Germany. The earliest version we have evidence of was the Hamburg sausage, introduced in Hannah Glass's The Art of Cookery Made Plain and Easy in 1758 as Hamburg sausage, which suggested to serve it roasted with toasted bread underneath. A similar dish that was also popular in Hamburg was the Rundstück warm, or bread roll warm, that was introduced as late as 1869 and supposedly was eaten by many immigrants on their way to America, but it may have contained roasted beef steak instead of hamburger. Hamburg steak is reported to have been served between two pieces of bread on the Hamburg America line, which began operations in 1847. As far as who in America created the hamburger, we don't really know for sure. The invention of hamburgers is often attributed to a wide variety of people, including Charlie Negreen, Frank and Charles Menches, Oscar Bilby, Fletcher Davis, or Louis Lawson. We do know that hamburgers gained national recognition at the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair, an event we've talked about before, and eventually we're going to do a video about that entire event. Then we have the Shish Kebab, which is Middle Eastern in origin, though some point specifically to Turkey. Shish kebabs are grilled meat, traditionally lamb, but more often than not either beef, shrimp, or chicken, that is skewered and cooked on a stick along with vegetables such as onions and peppers. The name comes from the Turkish shish, which means skewer, and kebab, which was a roasted meat dish. And finally, we have the most American of cookout foods, the hot dog. The Frankfurter comes from Frankfurt, Germany, where pork sausages similar to hot dogs originated. These sausages, Frankfurter Würstchen, were known since the 13th century and were served at imperial coronations, starting with the coronation of Maximilian II. Frankfurters, or Franks, were made from pork. However, when they made their way to Vienna, they created their own version, the Vienna sausage, or Wiener, which comes from the German word for Vienna and was a mixture of beef and pork. But who put them on a bun? Some say a street vendor in New York named Harry Stevens did it when he ran out of wax paper that he gave out the sausages on and replaced it with buns. Some say it was a man named Feuchtwanger who did it first in St. Louis when his wife recommended using buns instead of the white gloves that he handed out but rarely got back. And others say it was Charles Feltman of Coney Island who started the trend. Also, why do they call it a hot dog? It should be noted that since the 1800s, dog has been a slang term for sausage. And considering that in parts of what became Germany it wasn't that odd to eat dogs at the time, this could very well be the origin of the name. They also supposedly gained popularity from being served at the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair. So I guess that World's Fair might have given us hamburgers and hot dogs, as well as the worst marathon in modern history, a human zoo, and a burned down arena due to a canceled bullfight. Like I said, we'll eventually do a video about it.